What is up, everyone? I'm here to bring you an update on VeChain. Now, I know there's a lot of different lines here. I want to try and make a little bit of a different video. I kind of want to run through all these different major support and resistance levels and kind of explain why the technicals and resistance, support and resistance tells a story. And I know this is honestly like a lot. I'm very well aware. We try to make videos where we bring you the most simplified, really get down to the bone and what's really important in terms of like support and resistance. But I wanted to make this video to really just explain how support and resistance plays into price action and how things react off it, and how, even though this is really cluttered and this is a lot on the screen that we're looking at right here, I do think it's relevant, it's valid, and it's going to be telling for future price action. So maybe I'm going to spend a little bit more time running through this kind of TA and this kind of support and resistance in this video. So yeah, we're going to talk about VeChain here, talk about what I see happening both short term, long term, run through the technicals. And so yeah, if you like the sound of that, please like, subscribe, comment, share, hit that bell icon to be notified of new uploads. We really appreciate it, and we spend a lot of time making these videos, and we're gonna bring you. You'll stay up to date with the latest and greatest in crypto. So to kind of begin hashing out this mess that we see here, it is very valid, folks. So originally we had a massive run up, and then we started correcting. And so once we started correcting and we started forming these peaks based off a kind of moving in this linear fashion, you're able to draw a resistance line here that will be valid for price action moving forward as well. Based off this peak and this peak here, I believe we're able to draw a support area that I think will be relevant for price action moving forward. So what's going on here? We're in this downward moving channel. Okay, once we were in this downward moving channel and we broke out bullishly above this red resistance line, one could consider that a bullish breakout. Once we have broken out bullishly out of this channel, we started downtrending here. So we're kind of moving above the breakout point here in this downward moving channel. So I drew another resistance line here based off these two peaks where we were reacting off of. And so I knew that once we broke above this resistance line from the initial breakout, that confirmed bullish continuation of the original breakout. So like if one were interested in trading, one could have placed a long here if you were paying attention, and perhaps taken profit somewhere near all-time highs, perhaps anticipated a rejection off all-time highs, which makes sense. So we made a lower high based off the initial pump from here to here is a lower high, which is actually extremely bearish. Whenever we have a massive run up and make a lower high, that's extremely bearish. And we started to break down. And I think the key level to look out for and to understand whether or not we were going to see bearish continuation was these two green support lines. Based off this peak here and that peak here and this peak here and this peak here, bottoms, these wicks, I think that's a better way of putting it. Sorry, folks, there's so much information to get out. I feel like I have to speak fast in order to get it out. I don't want to make these videos crazy long, but I think it's better to say wicks, so it is better to say wicks. So based off these wicks here, I drew a support line. So once we started to break below this green line here, I think that was telling that price really didn't want to go up anymore, and that we could have broken down further, especially since that we made a macro lower high. Very bearish, especially after a massive run up, because whenever we have a massive run up, we almost always have a correction. It's needed, it's healthy as well. Based off this wick here and this wick here, if we extend that support line, we can also see how before here and here, these two wicks found support off the previous extension of support from these two wicks here. So these two green lines here, I think, were the thing that solidified the bearish breakout in this bear trend. As soon as we started to fall below these two green support lines here, that's when we saw continuation of the bearish trend. So again, this is why it's helpful, I believe, to draw all these different support and resistance lines, because moving forward in the future, price could react off these different levels. So once we fell down from these two green support lines, we fell back within this channel, and we seem to have broken down, found support at the original macro breakout point from this macro ascending triangle, which is at 355. Once we pumped down, we found support initially at the breakout point. So having a macro outlook, this could actually be insanely bullish, because whenever we have a breakout and we fall back down to retest the breakout point and we hold it as support, That's actually immensely bullish because that's telling you price doesn't want to go back down below this level. So VeChain above 355, no matter what happens, we could spend two months moving sideways above 355. As long as we're above 355, I think VeChain is going to keep trending bullishly eventually. I think 355 is kind of the inflection point. If we start to break below 3.5, yeah, so like 3 cents 5. I think we're likely to see bearish continuation and extended correcting and extended consolidation. But as long as we remain above that, I'm not too worried about VeChain's price in the short term here. So we fell back within this channel, and we're currently kind of range bound within the original channel from these areas here. So whatever we break out definitively out of this channel here, defined by this red resistance line and this green support line, I think we're going to trend in that direction for quite some time with VeChain. Another thing to note here, I believe we're currently in the short term here, range bound between one significant resistance area and one significant support area, and whatever we break out of these two areas right here, I think we'll trend in that direction. If we break out bullishly, I think we're likely to continue trending bullishly. If we break out of this area, if we break out bearishly from this area, I think we're likely to continue breaking down bearishly further. So why those areas specifically? Well, it's the 200 EMA on the 3-hour as acting as resistance, and the 200 EMA on the 4-hour is acting as support. So from 40 cents is kind of the support region, 42 to 43 cents is the resistance region. I think these are the most important areas to understand what VeChain could be doing in the short, how VeChain will trend in the short term. I think these are the kind of the most important areas we need to keep an eye out for. And as well, I wanted to bring you guys a video specifically on VeChain because looking at the market as a whole, I took a look at what coins had pumped the most, what coins have recovered the most after the downtrend the market had, and VeChain is one of those coins that's still pretty down, and it has great fundamentals and a great long-term future. So I wanted to bring you guys a coin that you could still have a pretty good dip buy potentially if you want to, if you were so inclined. Compared to a lot of other coins, VeChain is still down quite a bit, so it's a fantastic opportunity to dollar cost average your way into VeChain even right now. In my opinion, I'm not a financial advisor. These videos are not financial advice. You need to come up with your own trading plan and your own trading strategy. So let's take a look here at indicators if we can try and get a sense of what way we could break out from these two important support and resistance areas. It would be helpful if we had pulled up the correct chart. No worries. Don't you go fumbling and fudding away. We pulled it up right here. So let's take a look at the daily here. Yeah, look at that. Ooh, okay. Daily is very bearish. Look at that. Daily bearish crossover on the daily MACD. Everything's on the way down. Daily MACD, yeah, daily just bottom line looks very, very bearish. The 50 range, so from 46 to 50, is a very reactive place for the RSI. If we start to break down below 46 on the RSI, I think we're very likely to see continued bearish action, price action on the daily with VeChain here. So let's take a look at the 12-hour. Yeah, still bearish. The only thing that looks bullish on the 12-hour is the stochastic in the oversold region on the way up. So the stochastic RSI is good for understanding shifts in trends, okay? Whenever it moves from like one extreme to the other, So when it's in the oversold extreme, it's supposed to have a leg up, and it doesn't, has a bearish crossover. It's actually very bearish. It's telling you the price does not want to go up. But we seem to be curving up for the moment, and the weighted MACD seems to be curving, seems to potentially want to have a bullish crossover at some point. Weighted MACD is a leading indicator on the regular MACD. That's why I like to use it. So, oh, look at this. 6-hour actually looks somewhat bullish. MACD histogram on the way up, weighted MACD on the way up, stochastic RSI on the way up, although we may have, it looks like we're going to have a bearish crossover. Very bearish. Regular RSI still cannot even make a higher high, so we're trying to see some strength, but it's not very convincing. Still bearish, I'd say. Let's take a look at the 4. Yeah, even the 4. See, it does not want to have a bullish crossover quite just yet. Weighted MACD on the way down. Stochastic RSI, bearish crossover on in the overbought region. Yeah, that looks bearish to me. Looks bearish, although RSI did make a higher high, which is nice, so that's somewhat bullish. Let's take a look at the 2 here. So yeah, even the 2-hour bullish crossover, but the histogram is starting to tick down. Everything's on the way down. Yeah, so hopefully, I think if we could try and kind of hash out a bullish narrative, maybe we make a higher low here. I think we're probably going to fall back down and consolidate and retest the 200 EMA on the 4 hour. I think that's probably likely at this point, given the bearishness I'm seeing. But let's take a look at the one. Yeah, one's on the way down, and the half hour. Yeah, so. Okay, so I think something we can do to try to understand if and when we could have bullish price action with VeChain is taking a look at the half hour here. We can draw a resistance line here on the RSI. So whenever we break above this, if and when we break above this, I think we're likely to see bullish divergence in the price action. So whenever you see the RSI start to break above this red resistance line on the half hour, I think that's when you're going to see an uptrend in the price action. So just to kind of summarize here, we are seeing a lot of bearishness, a lot of weakness on VeChain. Some signs of some strength, although it's not very convincing. Ultimately, I think what this is telling us is we're probably going to consolidate and fall down and mess around, I'd say 41, 40 cents around these regions here. Until we break down from the 200 EMA on the 4 hour, I think we're still just going to mess around in these regions. If we fall from here, I think we're going to retest this green support line. And if we zoom out to show you why I think that green support line is valid, based off this wick and this wick here. Now, another thing that I want to mention, which I think is very worth mentioning, VeChain loves to have bearish fake outs and bear traps right before we break out bullishly. So this is actually something extremely interesting that if any of you are still watching, I think you're going to actually find this very interesting. So we're in this ascending triangle here. Okay, we tried to break out, we couldn't, we got rejected, we had a breakdown, and we fell below a critical support area that whales know people are going to place their stop loss orders right below this area. So we broke down from critical support, but then we pumped afterwards. So this is actually a bear trap to shake out the weak hands, stop a lot of people out, get a lot of liquidity right before the giant, enormous pump. So could something similar happen with VeChain, where we break down critical support, break down below critical support areas where whales know people are going to have their stop losses placed right below these key areas. You know, a lot of weak hands are going to get shaken out because they're going to panic. Oh no, VeChain is breaking below support. The sky is falling. And so whales might purposely drive the price right below critical support and then have the breakout and then see bullish continuation. We've seen this happen before where we tried to pump up, we couldn't, we got rejected, fell below critical support, and it was only after we'd fallen below those critical support levels that we then exploded. So I think something similar could happen in the future given the bearishness we're seeing on our indicators. Sure, we could break down below these key support levels, maybe mess around, retest the 355 area again, and maybe only then break out bullishly. Something like that is definitely possible. So in terms of my long-term predictions for VeChain, I've been saying 50 cents to $1, but ultimately it's just a guesstimate for fun. Nobody knows for sure. I think it's much better to scale out more so based off time frames and less so based off price targets, because I think it's more accurate. It's a more accurate way of understanding when it's time to sell. Because look, last time the altcoins reached their peak roughly a month after Bitcoin reached its peak last cycle, so I think something similar could happen this time around. And based off the Bitcoin halvings, I think Bitcoin is likely to reach some kind of peak September, October this year, and so probably VeChain is going to reach its peak roughly a month after Bitcoin. So there's so many more months, the better part of a year before this market is likely to reach a peak. So even if we correct further and break down critical support levels, I'm not selling. You guys do you, boo. I'm not a financial advisor. These videos are not financial advice. I think VeChain has amazing fundamentals. I think the market as a whole looks insanely bullish long term. So I'm not selling. The only thing I will be doing if we correct further is buying and adding to my long-term positions if we dip further. That is the only thing I will be doing, is buying the dip if we correct further. I personally consider this the blessing of lifetime. Let's say you bought up here, folks. I'm sure it sucks. You know, my portfolio is down too, but I understand that pullbacks are necessary, healthy, and to be expected. The more the pullbacks we have and the longer the consolidation, the stronger the next pump will be. The longer the base, the higher into space, as Bill Noble from Token Metrics likes to say. So, folks, I've rambled on quite long enough. I haven't even mentioned so much that I want to talk about. I'll just leave you guys before I leave you guys. Just, it's important to take a look at Bitcoin dominance, okay? Bitcoin dominance is the total value of Bitcoin in comparison to the total value of all cryptocurrency. Whenever it rises, altcoins typically suffer. Whenever it falls, altcoins typically benefit. So if we continue to rally, that should tell you that VeChain and the altcoins are going to continue to suffer. If we start to fall, that should tell you, the altcoins might benefit from that. This is a key support level. As soon as Bitcoin dominance falls below 57%, I think the altcoins are absolutely flying. And again, even if we correct further in the short term, I'm not the least bit worried. I think we are extremely early in the cycle. I think VeChain has great fundamentals, and I think we have the better part of a year before this bull run is over. So those are my thoughts, folks. If you like what we do, you want to support us, consider joining our Patreon. Link for that down in the description. You get access to our VIP Discord group where we take a look at interesting setups, catalysts, and low cap gems. We have some very, very beautiful low cap gems. So many low cap gems. I wish I had the money to buy all of them, but I don't. I have to be very selective with what I get into. So yeah, folks, consider joining our Patreon. Lots of cool stuff. And if you guys want to join our Discord, we have news articles there, technical analysis, resources. We just talk crypto all the time, and we interact with our Discord members all the time. We even have coin calls where we review the market and talk about our thought process. We've done that a few times. We're going to try and do that weekly or at least bi-weekly moving forward. We have to nail down a schedule. Me and Mass, we run this channel together. But folks, yeah, stick with us. We're gonna be breaking down critical TA all throughout this bull run. I've rambled long enough. Thanks for watching. Take care.